Greetings. My name is Hannah Lay, and today we're going to be discussing an article found in the Economist issue of April 30th. All right, and so today I chose the article, The Reflexive Sexism of Malaysia's Bureaucrats. Now, before I decided to pick this article, I was looking through, and essentially what caught my attention was the title, When Makeup is Essential. Right, when makeup is essential. And we dig deeper into it further, and we find that the real title, the real thing that was encompassing this entire article, is The Reflexive Sexism of Malaysia's Bureaucrats. So before we go into our analysis, I wanted to give us a brief summary of what this article is about. So for the summary, essentially, the article addresses the inequality between men and women in Malaysia and aims to promote equality. And it's very evident, actually, throughout the article, the authors aim to promote equality because it starts providing the readers facts pertaining to the stereotypes, the stereotypes set upon women in Malaysia, as well as the percentage of women workers versus men in the workforce, right? Also marriage differences, the differences between the expectations set upon men versus the expectations upon women, what men are allowed to do in marriage and what women aren't allowed to do in marriage, and et cetera, et cetera. And as well, it briefly touches on sexual harassment. All right, so today we're going to be discussing this article in light of the author's tone, the evident bias, as well as the organization of the piece. So to begin, for the author's tone. Now, throughout the article, you'll see that it's very informative. It actually provides a lot of facts, although it doesn't quite refer or cite many sources. It does give off the tone of being very informative. It refers to a variety of organizations throughout the article. We start seeing that it refers to some organizations such as the Ministry of Women, the World Economic Forum, the United Malays National Organization, as well as the PAS, which is the Conservative Islamic Party. And of course, all those organizations, when referred to, is to give support to the point that the author is trying to make, right? And in addition to referring to a variety of organizations, we also see that it's providing specific facts throughout the article to make the author's point. And for instance, I have here the quote found in the article. It says here that Islamic judges can approve marriages at younger age. They received almost 6,000 such requests between 2013 and mid-2018, and it is possible to dodge even that requirement. In 2018, an Islamic court merely fined a 41-year-old man for marrying an 11-year-old girl abroad, right? And so instead of going too deep into what that quote was really all about, we start seeing here that this is very informative. It's providing statistic and numbers and all such along the lines, right? So in addition to the author's tone, in its tone, actually, we start seeing the evident bias found here because it's very one-sided. It was made evident that the author is trying to inform as well as sway the opinion of readers. Little did we see facts without the bias of a side promoting equality. There was never an outside perspective in. It was more so, here's the facts to prove my point, right? And how do I know this? We start seeing here in this quote right here. Less than a quarter of Malaysia's lawmakers are female, and only 26% of companies have any women among their senior managers. Only 55% of women work outside the home. 80% of men do. Right? And in that choice of words alone, the word only says a lot. The word only there is saying, all right, we only have this many women in the workforce versus the amount of men, right? And with abrupt new topics in every paragraph without transitions, I started to view this article as if it was like a list of different reasons as to why the men and women is not equal in Malaysia. All right, so that's the evident bias. And last but not least, I want to discuss the organization of the piece. And I came to conclude that this article is incredibly disorganized. I couldn't quite pinpoint the point that they wanted to make, but all I know from beginning to end, it was aiming towards promoting equality, and it wasn't done in an organized manner. And how do I know this? There was absolutely no transitions from beginning to end. For instance, here in paragraph 1, it was speaking about this expectation on women to wear makeup / I put here / gender stereotypes / domestic abuse. And it was crazy because we learned in class as well that you don't just mush together a bunch of topics into one paragraph, but that's exactly what we get in paragraph 1. In paragraph 2, it's talking about the percentages of women working versus men. And in paragraph 3, marriage. And it's a lot of different things that the reader is having a hard time to process everything at once, but it didn't help that there was no transitions. So that was in terms of the organization of the piece. Now, my final assessment, I put here that had the author took on less bias and a neutral position on this topic about equality, readers could potentially come on board as well. Now, having read this, I totally understand the point. I totally understand, all this stuff about promoting equality, and I totally agree. But I think in the delivery of this article, had it been less biased, I think a lot more readers could potentially have a positive mindset towards whatever the author was arguing for. And additionally, and lastly, if the author had implemented smooth transitions in between the facts being provided, it would seem like they actually had a direction they were going with their argument. Instead of just throwing at the reader different reasons as to why it's unequal, inequal in Malaysia, it could have been different if there was a transition, adding on to each other, bringing the reader through slowly, but certainly assuring them that this is what it is. This is what the article really is arguing about. But there it is. That is my assessment of what was given here in this article. And besides that, I thank you for taking out the time to listen through this analysis of mine, and I hope you have a great day.